Hi, my name is Sabrina Devereux. I am a project/program manager in Carrick Therapeutics, which is a small startup biotech. I work in the CMC team. CMC stands for Chemistry, Materials and Controls, or in a larger pharma company, might be better off known as Technical Operations. That's the department within the company that is responsible for all of the development of a drug candidate, all of the manufacturing, and all of the quality and supply chain associated with either bringing a drug into a clinical study or bringing a drug out into the market space for commercialization to a patient. Project management as a whole, you're really wearing all hats. Every day is completely different. There's no specific set role that you're in, but essentially you're responsible for managing budgets, managing timelines, making sure that every responsible party within the project team that needs to deliver the drug, whether it's into a clinical study or whether it's into a commercial space, is doing their job and delivering on time and within their budget, and that meets the company's goals. So it can be a challenging but fun role. I studied at University College Dublin. I did a 4-year Bachelor of Science degree specialising in honours chemistry. Straight after that, I went into my PhD with the School of Chemistry and Chemical Biology. I was working under Dr. Francesca Paradisi at the time, and her group was working more with enzymology and biotechnology and biochemistry as opposed to synthetic chemistry directly. So in terms of opportunities, when I came out of that PhD, I ended up taking a big risk and moving to Austria. I started working for a company over there called Agrana. So I worked in their research and development facility. I took on a role as a project manager, and I was working on programs where we were looking at optimizing the bioethanol yield from their bioethanol production facility. There were a lot of different programs that I was working on at the time, but throughout the course of my 4 years that I ended up staying there, I was very much a project manager. Meanwhile, I also took a side role while I was there, lecturing in organic chemistry at a University of Applied Sciences. I was lecturing in a course, Medicinal and Biopharmaceutical Technology. And this showed me that I still had an interest in the pharma industry, and I was kind of thinking about moving back home to Ireland at this time. And I felt that making a switch back to pharma might have offered more opportunities for me to take that leap and kind of leave Austria and come back to Ireland. So I ended up switching from Agrana and the renewable energies field into the sector of the pharmaceutical side. I worked for a year as a project manager at Boehringer Ingelheim in Vienna. This is one of the largest contract manufacturing organizations in the world. When I was there, I met an Irish woman who I then ended up working for in Dublin. I moved home a year later and I started working at a company called Horizon. And I spent 4 more years there working also as a project manager. And I then moved to Carrick Therapeutics, which is where I have been for the last 3.5 years. And Carrick is operating out of Nova UCD, so it's really nice to still have that association with the university. I've maintained my project management title, but I have a very much jack of all trades, all hats approach to what I'm doing now. I think for me, the most exciting aspects of my job are, the first thing is every day is very different. It can very much be an unknown in a lot of cases. When you're working with a small startup like ours, you don't really know what's often going to come down the line. And I really value that every day is quite different because it never gets boring. And I think what's fun about, what we're doing, the motivation around being able to bring something successful, to be able to help people, to, the potential that's in that is really motivating all the time, that you might actually be able to, target an unmet medical need and bring a medicine to patients who need it. That everybody faces challenges, regardless of if they're professional or personal. They're going to impact on your everyday in some shape or form. For me, I would say my greatest challenge was a personal one, but it was heavily impacting my professional career. So I am a single mom of 2 small kids, and when that happened about 4 years ago, I realized that I had to make a career change. So I'm really lucky now with Carrot Therapeutics, the company that I'm with these days. They have given me the flexibility. They are confident in my ability to be a project manager, to do my role. It still allows me to bring my kids to school and collect them. And I've been blessed because I haven't had to sacrifice on either. I haven't had to sacrifice on my career nor sacrifice on my children. So I think that's been the largest hurdle to have to overcome so far. So as a project manager, your main goal is to successfully plan, execute, and complete a project. So that means time management, money management, but also people management. So from my point of view, interpersonal skills, being a people person, being able to work a room and manage people is a very big part of being a successful project manager. You also need to be able to have good time management, good organizational skills. You need to be able to be very adapting to change. You need to be able to embrace risk and, manage risk associated with your project. These are all the more valuable attributes, I think, when it comes to doing my role. In terms of advice, one of the things that I think is quite important is that when you get out into the workspace at some point, whatever job specification that you look at, don't take it as black and white. When you get into a role, that role sort of molds itself around you and what you're bringing to the table, and there's always room for development within that role. So as a first piece of advice, don't take it as black and white. The second thing is, don't be afraid to take risk. Risk takes you out of your comfort zone. Risk allows you to personally develop, and that's hugely important for any organization, whether academic or industrial. A third thing I would say is to always go with your gut. If you get a gut feeling about something, trust it. Very often your own instinct is really what the right answer is.